What's up, everyone? Commissioner Tnow here with our very first episode of Tnow Talks, a weekly show where we're going to be interviewing various content creators and members of the IGL community. For this first episode, we've got none other than the legendary SunlessKhan joining me for the show. We hope you enjoy it. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and comments below to get involved in the conversation. Enjoy the episode. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with none other than SunlessKhan on our very first episode of Tnow Talks.
What's
Sunless,
up?
glad to have you here, man. Thanks for jumping on the show.
Good to be here. First episode.
Yeah,
Wow, it's an honor. I'm breaking in the show.
that's right. Yeah, well, we always gotta call in the big guns whenever we're testing out something new here. So
There you
but
go.
yeah, glad to have you on the show, and we'll just be talking about a variety of different things here. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on in the Rocket League world as of the recording of this, so we'll be diving into all that, getting to some other stuff. But why don't we start off with some of the basics here with like the content creation, kind of what you do, and sort of some of the things that got you into it. I mean, obviously, anybody watching this, if you're familiar with IGL, you're familiar with Sunless, right? You know he's a YouTuber. He's for Rocket League. That goes without saying. But let's tell people a little bit about how you got started creating content for YouTube, and more specifically, like why Rocket League was the go-to for that.
Yeah, I mean I had a YouTube channel before. I had like 100 subscribers or something. I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. Um but it never really it was kind of just my own personal thing. Like I had video projects on there and stuff because I making videos was always a thing I liked. Um so much that it was actually my career. So I was a video editor before I was a YouTuber. So I already made videos, and then in my spare time, I made like music videos and short films and stuff like that. They
Hmm.
weren't very good, but not good enough to like sustain a channel at all, or regular enough, because I was working a full time job and stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I watched a lot of YouTube, of course, and so I always wanted to start a channel, but I never quite had the topic, and I knew I needed something like that, and I had played Rocket League probably for about, let's see, probably about a year, a little over a year before I started the YouTube channel. I started playing in 2016, the beginning of 2016. I didn't start my YouTube channel until April of 2017. So yeah, I just started making video. Man, I don't even know how it was like. I made some one-off videos and some random stuff and some gameplay with Rocket League because I just enjoyed Rocket League. So I just had put random videos up. But it wasn't until the Why You Suck at Rocket League episode where I was like, I'm going to make this a series, even though I had no plans for it. I
Yeah.
just said at the beginning that this is going to be a series. And then once that got views, it was like the first video that really did well right when I released it. And
Hmm.
then from there, it was just that's all it was. It was just following up that series until I had a channel.
That's
That was the
awesome.
beginning.
So do you think that's kind of key for people who are, I mean, obviously when you're starting off, you got to grind, you got to get like, good quality content out there. You got to try different things. But do you think that's kind of key early on is like do you think like or what am I trying to say here? Like the idea of early on, should you try to stick with something till it works, or is experimentation kind of the way to go when you're first trying to figure out what sort of content to put on your channel?
I think experimentation is way, way more important than consistency in YouTube, which is kind of a weird thing. Like a lot of people think it's the other way around, or not the other way around,
Hmm.
but they think the consistency and the regular uploads are like really important. But that's really not, in my opinion, it's not important until you actually have an audience. Because what's the, I mean, I've seen lots of channels that have been doing it for years. They stuck to a series. They're like, this is going to be episodes. I'm going to do this because the series is what makes a YouTube channel. But
Hmm.
and they have like 10 views for years or like maybe 100. It's
Yeah.
just you got to try different stuff until something hits. Then you follow it up. Like I mean that's what I did anyway. So I don't know if it's always that formula, but in my opinion, if I was releasing 5 videos that were in the same style and none of them got any views, I would take the hint and try something else.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean that's what I did. I tried a couple different things before I found the one that I was like, oh, people actually like this.
Yeah.
Then it was easy because then I knew that's the style that I had found a group of people that like to watch that style of video, and then from there it was just keep making that.
Sure. Well, I'm jotting down
I think
notes because
experimentation.
I'm jotting down notes because that's kind of what we're trying to do with this right here is the Tnow
Yeah.
Talks. Maybe people like it, maybe people hate it. Who knows? We'll find out. But
Yeah.
experimentation definitely the way to go. You heard it here first. Let's
You might
talk.
hear some squeaks in the background, by the way. I don't know if you hear those
Yeah.
toys, but I got a puppy in this room, and she's
Yeah.
playing with her toy, which is good. She's not yapping or being destructive. She's actually like passed out on the floor right now, just chewing her toy. So
She's so cute. If you guys haven't seen her, obviously go check out Sunless's Instagram and Twitter. And I don't know if you posted anything like recently as the recording of this
not
video,
too
but
recently. She's bigger now. She's definitely bigger. She had a growth spurt, but yeah, she's still cute as ever.
gonna have to see some updates. And
Yeah.
Sky handling the transition well as well.
Yep, she's chill as ever. No problem at
Nice.
all. She's
That's,
just like, whatever.
yeah.
That's kind of her face. Like, all right.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about Space Station Gaming now. I mean, that's well, I guess not new isn't the right word, but relatively new.
Yeah.
Less than a year, right? And we just saw them, add a ton of Rocket League content creators to their creation team. They're making some really
Yeah.
big moves in the Rocket League scene. They won Rainbow Six Siege. I think I was talking to you a little bit off stream. I'm a fan of the game Smite. They had one of the top teams there during league play. Obviously, the Rocket League team was fantastic. I mean, just tell us a little bit about Space Station Gaming, kind of some of the moves they're making here in the industry, and give us a little insider insight into what it's like being involved with who's been a very successful esports org here.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that they talked about when we talked about wanting to sign me was how they wanted to make an impact in the Rocket League community. They really wanted to focus on it. And I saw that as more than just talk and stuff. Obviously, I saw that they were sincere about that. And so that's one of the first things we started to, it took a while, but that's one of the first things we started to work on was Mertzi and I helping them find small creators, small up and coming creators. Actually, not just small creators, because we got John Sandman as well.
Yeah.
So not just small creators, but finding the right people that could represent SSG well and would be on this crew of content creators that were part of an org. So that was kind of part of the vision from the start. And so we had a huge list. We like all these people. And the owner, Sean Duras, was just like, yeah, let's just sign them all.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh yeah, let's do it. So now we have this full crew of people. And that was really the vision from the start. It just took a while. But their vision for the future is just more of that. Like they want to do tournaments. They want to be seen as, they really want to be the org in Rocket League. So they're going to do whatever they can to do that. And they're going to, just from hosting events, being a presence, like showing that they care about Rocket League, because they do. And they're just going to keep being awesome until they're the Oregon Rocket League.
Yeah. I mean, and they've been doing a great job. And you just think about a lot of the events that have been going on lately in the Rocket League scene, like Twitch Rivals, Space Station Gaming everywhere. This 1v1v1v or however many ones there were.
Yeah, they
right?
sponsored it.
Half the people are
and they sponsored the entire salt mine.
Yeah, and they sponsor salt mine. I mean,
like they're down to actually invest in all kinds of things in the community.
Yeah, which is
that other orgs are slower to invest in or just less willing to. Like they just have their pro team and they're like, that's the money we're putting into Rocket League and that's it. Like we don't care about content creators. We don't care about like anything else. We're not going to sponsor tournaments. We have our pro team. That's our involvement in Rocket League. That's where it ends. Where SSG was like, our pro team is just that's our just entrance into Rocket League. Like that's just the beginning.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And we're going to go a little off script here as far as the order of things, because I think it's a good time to kind of segue into this, given what our conversation. What is the general thoughts about the RLCS X format? And I mean, obviously you don't need to make an official statement on Space Station's behalf or anything like that, but also getting your opinion. We're talking about Space Station being a huge org within Rocket League, investing a lot of time and money into that. What are kind of the general thoughts that you're hearing, and both your own opinions about RLCS X and kind of what this means for the upcoming near future of competitive Rocket League?
Yeah, I just see RLCS X as just a huge expansion of RLCS. I mean, almost doubling its size. I mean, I don't even know if it's doubling what the metric is for, but no, I'm surely number of games, the amount of lands is just going to go way up, and the amount of opportunities for orgs to make money is huge. So I think that was, I mean, from an org perspective, it was pretty lacking in RLCS. To first of all, you know, there's a good chance whoever you sign isn't going to make it next season. You know.
Yeah.
And a lot of their value also comes from lands. So you have 2 major lands. You have a couple. There were some other ones actually, like I mean the third party stuff like DreamHack and E-League and stuff like that. But now you have what? How many guaranteed lands? 3, 4, 4 guaranteed like actual like Rocket League official lands. That's not even like if DreamHack would fit in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Which maybe it won't because it's just so constant. And that's the other thing. It's just like year-long season. It doesn't end. There's no off season.
That's what I'm really interested to see is how some of these other things like DreamHack fit into the new RLCSX format.
Yeah,
because
they won't be able to do a circuit like they did that last year. That's for sure.
Yeah,
but maybe like a one-off, I could see them doing, which is what they did like 2 years ago. They just had 1 or 2. It wasn't like a circuit. Where last year, for whatever reason, I mean, it was sweet that they did it, but it was like 4 DreamHacks.
Yeah. Maybe trying to fill the void of what RLCSX is doing now, you know, with having some more events. Yeah. I guess my understanding.
Regional lands as well. That's the other thing. Like the fact that they'll have regional, they haven't done that before. Like a land that's just for, there's going to be 3 NA lands.
Yeah. Because I think it's basically 4 guaranteed. Well, I mean, coronavirus pending, right? They said in their statement that everything's going to be online, but it seems like the general setup and the gist of it is that in a perfect world, those 3 regional lands would be, or those 3 regional events would be lands. Worlds would obviously be lands, and there's these online events leading up to them, I believe.
Yeah. The other big thing is the grid, which is like they're also going to have weeklies. So there's just going to be so many games. It's going to be kind of crazy, honestly. Like teams will be competing all the time, and orgs will have their name out there all the time, and there'll be, I mean, just more prize money for one, but also way more exposure and chances for sponsorships and just avenues for orgs to get their value for. I mean, they are paying, even if they're not doing anything else in Rocket League, just their pro team. To be fair to them, like I was saying before, a lot of orgs are they're stingy because once they have their pro team, that's their investment, and that's kind of a good reason because I mean we're talking about 3 full-time salaries, so you know could be like plus you know whatever other costs, it could be like $100K a year, you know, or more.
Sure.
So you know, fair. But some of these orgs, like I mean, like Cloud9, I don't really understand that, to be honest, because they have so much money. I just don't see how even $100K a year could possibly be a problem for them, or even $200K a year. But you know, I guess if they weren't getting a return, they saw it as a waste. But
yeah,
I don't really fully understand it. I think it's kind of strange that they backed out, especially right before this big announcement. I guess things got bad enough with the communication, but I'm kind of miffed at Psyonix's inability to keep them, because I would think they would. Surely they were hinting like, okay, we got some changes coming. They're going to be huge, but obviously, I mean, that's what I want to know is how much did Cloud9 know that all these changes were coming and that still wasn't enough to keep them, or were they like Psyonix just didn't tell them enough about what they were planning?
Yeah,
it's weird.
And I think that's going to be a really interesting concept to dive a little bit more into. You know, as the months pass by here, and we see a little bit more about RLCSX, and we see if teams are feeling like they're getting a return on investment for what they're putting into it, and you know, did Cloud9, because Cloud9 sounds like they kind of left the door open, right? With their departure, they were like, we love Rocket League, it's great, but it's just not a fit for us right now.
Yeah.
If it becomes a fit in the future, you know, we'll be back. So maybe we see them jumping back in here pretty quickly, but kind of to your point, like, if you've got some of these changes coming up, you don't really leave an organization like Cloud9 in the dark. I mean, like, you let them know, like, hey guys, stick around just another month here. We promise this is going to be great. Here's what we're planning on doing. And maybe they did that, and Cloud9 saw it and still said, this isn't working for us right now.
But now Liquid jumped in like a massive one of the biggest orgs in the world, probably the biggest, possibly, as far as winnings.
Yeah,
might be up there as number one. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I know they're up there in terms of esports orgs winnings. No, never mind.
Who was the top one?
Wait, this is 2018.
Yeah.
It is Liquid. Yep. By a lot. Well, not by 35. They have 35 million in total winnings across 1,700 tournaments. They've done way more tournaments than anyone else. That's for sure. So they've been around forever. It looks like. After that, it's like OG. Probably like I don't even know what that. I don't even know what that is. What is OG?
You said 35 million across 17 tournaments.
Dota, that's what it is.
Or
1,700.
Yeah,
everyone else is like 90 tournaments, 800 tournaments, 900 tournaments. Like Evil Geniuses, Fnatic.
Yep.
Those are up there.
That's an average of about 20,600 a tournament, so
not
bad at all. Well, I know how to use a calculator, so.
Oh, there you go.
Or no, actually no, yeah. Hey, we're gonna edit that out. That was all I mentally just crunched those numbers real quick.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that is Dota.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much they're in pretty much every game at least, or were in pretty much every game. I mean, Apex, Arena of Valor, Artifact, Call of Duty, Clash, Counter-Strike, Dota, FIFA, Fortnite. Like, it was weird that they weren't in Rocket League, honestly.
Yeah. Rocket League is kind of a big game for them not to be a part of.
Just considering how they're in everything, but now they're here. So,
dude, they even had a Heroes of the Storm team, which was one of my favorite games back in the day.
Yeah,
that doesn't have the professional scene anymore, but. Actually said it's Spacestation Gaming, SSG,
really,
Method, Team Liquid, Dignitas, Fnatic. Yep, they all had teams in there. Evil Geniuses, Tempo Storm. There were some other ones, but enough about strolling down Tnow's memory lane here. We'll keep the topic or keep to the topic at hand here with the Rocket League and RLCS X and all that. I'm excited to see it, and I think it seems like Psyonix and Epic are putting in a really good effort to buff up their esports scene, try to cater to those organizations, and I think if they just keep going down a good path, that Rocket League will be one of, if not, the biggest esports out there. And it's my personal opinion that, it has the potential to be the best one. I mean, I'm not going to say Rocket League is like, I'm not going to say Rocket League is like one of my favorite games personally, but just looking at the potential, I truly think that Rocket League, it's a game that's based on the most popular sport in the entire world. Like there's, it has the potential.
Yeah, the potential has always been there. It's just a matter of when's the tipping point where we see like mainstream sports investment, like when do we see like, I don't know, actual sports franchises buying into Rocket League and stuff like that. I mean, we've seen that a little bit with like Barcelona and PSG, but those are just like, that's just really weak, honestly. Like Barcelona, what billion-dollar company, and they just like they'll spend like pennies for their stupid little Rocket League team. And then they back out. It's like, what was the point of that? Why didn't you really go hard? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think
they just saw it as like just wanted to get their fingers in it and didn't really care. But it's just kind of sad. Like, how is that your involvement? It was like nothing. Barely reflects like the actual company of Barcelona at all, or the organization.
And it's interesting to me because obviously these esports divisions of the large sports franchises, they're part of that organization 100%, but they're also kind of like almost like a side project, right? Like
it is. Yeah, of course, just a little side project.
Yeah. So I think because you think about traditional sports versus esports, can you imagine like the NBA going to like the Lakers and being like, hey guys, tough season, but we've got two teams from the development league who are going to play you guys, and if you lose, you're out. Like if you lose, they're taking your
Yeah.
spot. So I know there's a whole debate in esports about like, is franchising a good thing? Is this and that? But
Yeah.
and I mean, we can maybe touch on it a little bit. I'm not necessarily trying to dive into that, but the point I'm trying to make is that there doesn't seem to be like a proven structure within esports that works for everyone, right? Like some
Yeah,
stuff
that's
works
for
better
sure.
for the developers, some stuff works better for the players, some stuff works better for the orgs. Whereas in traditional sports, everybody's pretty much unified, and there's still issues. There's always going to be issues with everything, and you see that in traditional sports. But generally speaking, even the worst team in the NBA or the NFL, they want the NFL to succeed because they get a share of that, right? There's revenue sharing, and they're very
Yeah.
invested in it. Whereas I feel like kind of widely across esports, it's only the best teams that are profiting uh, from the from the winnings and the leagues and the tournaments and whatnot. But I don't know, just some interesting thoughts to throw out there. I don't know if you have any comments on that, but
Yeah.
that's just kind of where I see there needing to be like a bigger overhaul, almost like an agreed upon structure that works for the industry of like, oh, we got
Yeah.
this new game, boom, here's how everybody ties into it.
Yeah, you're
We're
right.
good to
I mean,
go.
that's the struggle. I think if you go back to the beginnings of all professional leagues, or even before the leagues, actually formed as far as
Mm-hmm.
traditional sports, like go way back, it's kind of a similar thing. At least what I've found is like you see a lot of teams jumping in, backing out. The money's not quite there. The sport's
Mm-hmm.
not quite popular enough yet. It just takes time for things to solidify. So I don't have, yeah, I think the future is bright. It's just a matter of, like
Yeah.
you said, getting that organization down and finding the system or league or franchising or maybe it's not franchising. Maybe it's, whatever it is, finding the right mix
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making sure there's money and popularity there to drive, bigger companies to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
All part of it.
It'll take time. It'll definitely be interesting to
Yeah.
see. I mean, we're basically living through, like you said, the same thing with sports. Like there was the NBA and there was the ABA. There's the NFL and
Yeah. And
I think,
franchises joined and
yep,
folded like every year and
yep.
in the very beginning of all of those leagues. Like I watched this really great video on like the NFL before it was the NFL, and there was like, I mean, every city had a team, and then they left, and then they would run out of money, and they would close, another team
Mm-hmm.
would open. Like it seems like every major city in the U.S. has had like two or three like failed professional teams, and small towns too. Honestly, not just big cities.
Yeah.
Uh, like
And
my in Canton, Ohio, like my small town well, it's not a small town, but it's like a mid-sized town. Like they would never have a professional team now. They had some teams that were in the professional football league or whatever. It's like the Canton Bulldogs or something. No, that's the high school. Whatever.
yeah.
The point is, like everyone tries to get in, and then when the scene's young, there's a lot of volatility with teams, and so it's the same thing in esports. I think see
Yeah.
teams changing all the time. There's no structure yet.
That's
Just
what
how
it
it is.
seems like. And I mean, I wonder if Canton, I mean, because that's where the NFL Hall of Fame
That's what Hall
is,
of Fame
right?
is.
So
Yeah.
I wonder if they did really well early on and then just kind of got crushed by some of the bigger cities or what. But
Probably, yeah,
the
probably.
that'll be the homework for the audience, is going and looking up why it's why it's there.
The video is really interesting. There's a video where it was like it just tracked all the teams. So it had like a little map, and it was like,
Hmm.
this is what the league looked like in 19 whatever. Here's what it looked like in 1920, and it was just like there were like 8 teams, and then it was like, and this one folded, and then two more joined, and then these two folded, and then it was like it showed when the first one that's actually still there showed up, the oldest franchise. It was cool.
That's neat. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out because
Yeah, it was like the
I
history of every NFL team, or every professional football team, or something like that.
that's awesome. Yeah, definitely some good stuff to check out there. You know, talking about kind of shifting back to Rocket League here too. The other big change recently. I mean, I guess I don't know if there's been a major announcement about it, but we saw this in some of the comments and talked about a little bit. Is that Psyonix is adding ranks above GC, or like additional ranks to the
Yeah,
Grand Champ, What do you think about it? Because people have been calling for this for a while, it seems like. So what do you
Yeah,
kind of think about this?
I think it's a very small fraction of the player base that wants that, but it's allowed. It's allowed minority because on Twitter, those are the high level players are the ones that have the followers.
Yep.
But I think it's great I think that's why they have it as just a tiny side note. Like they knew that most people didn't care or would even be mad if they saw that. So they added it as a little side note, like ranks above GC.
Yeah.
Because they knew that would be enough of a signal they're sending to the higher ranked players that like, okay, we're going to do something. And I there should be something. I agree, but I think it's a little like you have to cater to some of the top players, but I mean that's like a business trying to serve. I don't know. It's trying to serve like these. It makes sense because you want to serve your top customers, so that kind of makes sense. You want to serve the people that are playing the most and have a following. So there's that for sure. But then there's also, you don't want to discourage 99.9% of your player base.
Yep.
Like that would be, you can't just screw over all of your customers because of like 2 customers that are, the most loyal by percentage wise,
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's great that they should find a solution where it's some kind of reward or distinction for the top players. I think that's great. Like they need that. So hopefully I'm really curious what it'll be. Like, will it actually be a couple new ranks or will it be some, I think it could be as simple as like top 100 titles and stuff like that. Like that would be enough to satisfy them. I think like trying to get that top 100 title, or you get the title as long as you're in like an actual dynamic title, meaning like you only have the title while you're, I don't know if that's too hard to implement, while you're in the top 100.
That would be interesting.
Maybe an MMR title or something. I don't know. But maybe they'll just add another rank at like 1800 MMR or something.
Yeah. Super ultra grand champion.
Yeah, like you're going to run out of those as the player base gets better and the MMRs go higher. You're just going to keep adding ranks.
Yeah.
That's why I really think they need the rank. If they add another rank, it needs to be tied to a leaderboard. Like that's because then there's a limited supply. Then you never have that problem of like needing to just add more ranks because there's only so many. If you had it as top 100 or maybe top 1,000 or top 500,
yep,
that would be the rank for the top 500, and you only get that rank if you're in the top 500. So then it's like that rank will always be as equally difficult. Or actually, it'll get more difficult as more players join to get that rank. So
I'm a big proponent.
I wouldn't
be
surprised if that's what they did.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of a system like that. Like you have an actively shifting, like basically everybody's champ 3, and there's only 500 people in the world who are grand champ, and it updates every day based on.
But I like
MMR.
the idea of adding the rank because then it's like you still have you have literally thousands of GCs that have grinded.
Yeah.
And you still want people to get GC. Like that's the ultimate goal for 90%. I mean, for most of the player base. So the adding of the rank, I think, is a great idea because you have GC for everyone that's attainable. But like most people aren't, and I mean really most people aren't going to get this like extra high rank they're talking about. Like this needs to be super. This needs to be for like basically pros and professional and like I don't know, really hardcore ranked warriors that like are 1900, but they're not, they're whatever reason they're not competitive or they're not in the pro scene, but they're still like, top of the top as far as ranked players.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see kind of what they elect to roll out there with that. I think there's a lot of good options they can go with.
They also hinted at a lot of some other updates and features, so I'm really curious what that would be. Maybe expanding tournaments, maybe. I don't know. Quality of life stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
features. I don't know. Training.
They've been doing a lot. I mean, they also announced the field, I think is what it was called, where that's like weekly, or is that that's not the same thing as the grid?
That was the grid, okay. But then there's something. Yeah, there is something else. Yeah, I forgot about it, but
because I thought those were 2 separate things, but again, maybe I'm a little confused. There's something called the field.
Yeah,
where it had 3 different divisions. The top division was basically
that was also Psionic. That's just like they started like a league. It's like a league they started.
Yeah,
they're going to start.
Yeah,
like a 6-man's almost like a rec league, but it sounded like it was pretty high level though.
Yeah, it sounded like it was almost for like
the top tier was for pros. It's like for the bubble scene.
Yep, it's going to be really good for the bubble scene. I think that could
Hey.
buff up there. I mean, it obviously all keeps going up, right? Like you have a strong bubble scene, then you're gonna have a strong pro scene. They made a bunch of changes with RLCS X. It all just kind of
Yeah.
feeds into each other. So yeah, it's pretty awesome stuff. Let's talk about your competitive career here with IGL. Started off 2 years ago, and we're playing in played in the circuits for a while. What like I mean, this is just crazy for me to even think about over 2 years ago. Like initially, how you found out about us, and kind of what it was like in those early days when you were first competing in some of the circuits.
Yeah, back then I was involved in YouTube, but it wasn't my full-time job, so I was just
Mm-hmm.
looking to do anything with Rocket League that I could. So I was trying to find local stuff, and it's so funny because I found it on that like meetup app that I think is
Yeah.
dead. Like I don't think anyone uses.
Oh, we
Not only
deleted
on
our
our
page.
meetup, but like I think meetup in general is pretty dead. But
Yeah.
sometimes I still get emails about groups that I've joined, so I don't know, maybe it's still alive. But yeah, that was the meetup that I found. I don't know what you had, some kind of event, like a pizza party, Rocket League event,
Mm-hmm.
or just like a one-off thing.
Yep, it was.
But that's how I contact. Was it you or Smash? I can't remember.
It was
I think it was
Smash. Yeah, it
Smash.
was
Yeah,
Smash because he actually ran that group before IGL was even discussed between us. That's when that pizza Rocket League event was. So him and another
yeah,
one of our friends were running that.
yeah. And then from there, I was like, I called him. We talked about it, and then I think he said we're gonna try to start this like little league,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like it's gonna be like 20 people. It's gonna be sweet. So how do we even get? I joined it. I got some people to. Did I tweet about it or
You
something?
put it
I
in
don't know.
a video, so and that
Did I
got
put in
us
the
like
video for
way
the
yeah.
game? I want to find that video. What video is
Yeah.
that?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and
We need
dig
to
it
figure
up
out
and
which
look at it.
one. That's funny. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, but there was still like what, 30 people maybe?
We had 68 people
It
in
was
the very
60?
first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I
That's
still
funny.
remember that phone call. I bet Smash called me right after he got off the phone with you. He was like, "Hey, I just got off the phone with this YouTuber. He's got like 68. I mean, this was how crazy it is. 2.5 years ago, it was like he's got 68,000 subs. His name's SunlessKhan, and he's gonna help us promote the league and stuff." I was like,
It's
okay,
hilarious.
this clearly isn't real. Like, this is a scam. Nobody with 68,000 subs is calling us when we're starting this league.
It's
And
hilarious.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I really
obviously,
want to find that shout out now.
yeah.
I'm gonna
It
go
was,
back and find which video that's
I
on.
mean, it would have
I think I
been
kind of
about,
remember around the era. It was like right after. Well, yeah, whatever. I think I'll be able to find it, but that's
yeah.
funny.
I would love to watch that video again because it would have been I mean, this is our 2 year anniversary. The summer circuit just started here on July 6th. And this is the 2 year anniversary of IGL, so it would have been around the May June 2018 timeframe is when that video
Yeah,
would have been out. And
that's
actually,
right.
um, obviously you and Musty are competing in the road to 1 million subs now. And that screenshot that you posted on Twitter, I mean, this was a while back. I don't remember how recently it was, but the screenshot of him sending you a message asking, like, hey, what editing software do you use? That
That's
was
right.
during the very first summer circuit, during the very first IGL
Ah,
circuit. And him and Rocket Sledge were teammates in that. I think you recruited them both to
that's
play
right.
because it was
Because
2v2.
we played against them in our first game.
Yep.
Right.
This is the very first game on stream in IGL history was Sledge and Musty versus Sunless and Mannfield. And Mannfield, it was close. I mean, obviously that was a tough one. I think
Was it close? I don't think it was close.
it was close. You guys were both around like Champ 1, Champ 2 at that time frame. Same with Sledge, and Musty was, well, Musty.
He was a
Um,
VP still back then. Yeah.
but I still remember it was the last game. I don't know. I think it was either game 3 or game 4. I mean, they did beat you guys in 3 or 4, but it was like competitive. It was tied up. Tied up. There's like 7 seconds left. You guys are on the attack. The ball skips off the top of Manivolt's car, ricochets the entire length of the field at 0 seconds, and goes in the goal for Sledge and Musty. And
Oh my
that was how
god.
the series ended. It was so funny. Vault he's the master of own goals.
It was a crazy ending. That's right.
You and
I
him,
I wouldn't have remembered that until you
I
said it. Now I do remember there was some crazy thing that happened.
yeah, it was pretty
Get back and
funny.
find that somehow.
You guys did win the very first IGL LAN as well at my house.
That's right. That's right. We did.
Oh man, there's some
That was
really
sweet. On the Xbox.
yeah.
We had to play on Xboxes. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. How what was like as far as like competing in IGL? Do you remember like how many circuits you played in, or kind of like what was the best you did? Because I know you're playing on some 3v3 teams for a while.
Yeah, I think the last one I played in, we probably did the best because
Mhm.
we did we make the playoffs? I don't even remember. Like it was always just for me. It was just a great like organized thing to do for fun. But as I became more involved with YouTube and the full time thing, then
Mhm.
I kind of petered out. I think I've missed like the last two. I think
I
last
think
two
so.
circles. Because I was going to do doubles because our team. Well, what happens? Our team disbanded. We were like, because we had like 3 seasons in a row that was pretty similar, and we weren't really getting that much better. And we're just like, weren't feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
So then I was going to do doubles, and then, yeah, it just fell through. I never found a team, and I was just like, okay, well, I'll just keep grinding and doing my own thing. But I kind of want to get back in. I just need to find the right team. That's all. That's all it is.
All right.
So maybe we'll just get our threes team back together. Just me, Manivault, and Adams.
There you go. Getting the band back together.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
Matt started playing. He started playing Warcraft or World of Warcraft more, and Vault was
mhm.
getting busier, and we were just like, all right. It played itself out.
Yep.
So, but I think I think I actually want to do the double circuit.
We'll keep an eye out. You
Or
know,
the
I
one
know.
circuit.
I'm just throwing this out here that I know Flume played with his brother the previous circuit, but he
That's
didn't play in
right.
this last one. So maybe he's LFT as well. I don't know. You know, I
Yeah,
actually,
he's
you
in the
know,
middle of a big move and stuff, so that's probably
yeah.
why he didn't.
Even better would be get some of the SSG guys playing. I think
Yeah,
Nito
that
played
I could do.
1v1 for a bit, but we were trying to get John to play a little bit, but his schedule's obviously hectic. Tryhouse has a lot of franchise teams playing. Nito's got a lot of franchise teams playing, but you know, if SSG wants to have some amateur content creator teams, I got a nice home for him.
Mm. Yeah, I think we could do that.
But yeah, it's you know, seriously though, it's been great having you involved with IGL, and you've always, I mean,
Yeah, it's been
always
awesome.
been so great to work with, and obviously we're friends now. You know, people are. If you don't know, like Sunless lives pretty close to us, so we've all gotten to know each other very well outside of Rocket League and IGL and all that, and it's just crazy what a 2 years it's been for everybody. I mean, Smash and
Yeah.
I are working full time on IGL. You're in a race to 1 million subs. I mean, 2 years ago, neither of those things was happening, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah. It is
it's
amazing how far it's come just
yeah,
from coming together through Rocket League.
yeah,
Pretty bizarre.
it's yeah, and hey, that's my advice to people out there is just get out there and do something. You know, just try to do something
Yeah.
because that's what we tried to do with IGL, and you know, we've been very fortunate with the experiences that we've had and the people we've gotten in contact with, but you'll never know if you don't at least try. So, make sure you do it.
Inspirational words from Tnow.
Yeah, the inspirational words. That's what I'm
It's
good
an
here
inspirational
for.
podcast, man.
That's right. That's right. That feels like a good spot to end it with the inspiration. I got to give you the floor for shout outs though, and let people know, you know, if you got anything cool going on or anything you want to draw attention to, feel free to give the shout outs.
Just follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube. That's all I need. I'm just SunlessKhan. SunlessKhan, everything, everywhere.
And
Type it in.
we'll make sure that those are all in the links to the video here. So
Appreciate it.
make sure you get in there. Of course, I'm sure most of you are already subscribed, but if you aren't, uh, go do it. And if you don't,
Do it.
I will ban you. I'll find you. Like, you think I won't find you? I'll find you. I'll find you and ban you.
Scary. I get you.
No, but thanks so much for being on here today, man. As always, great getting a chance to talk with you, and best of luck with the race to 1 million. I'm pulling for you.
Thank
It looks
you.
like it's pretty close, but I believe in the Sunless fam. You got
Appreciate
this.
it. Thanks for having me as well.
Yep, happy to do it, man. We'll just wrap up here, and yeah, appreciate having you on.
I feel like waving. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of Tnow Talks. Let us know what you thought in the comments. What are your thoughts on the RLCS X format? Who do you want to see on the future shows? Get the conversation going with us. Make sure to like and subscribe as always so you don't miss out on any of the content that's coming out here on the IGL channel. Another episode of Tnow Talks will be coming out next week, so turn those notifications on so you don't miss it.